G'day everyone, my name is Zach, and welcome to this week's Hobby Highlights and Headlines, a series where we don't go out with a bang, not with a murmur, but with the gentle hum of an airbrush. I figured I would start this video off by first and foremost introducing myself as the right name. I realized that when I released yesterday's video that I did the old intro from back in the day, as in a couple months ago when I was still called Clondra and not Zach. So I realized that as I posted the video, I went through everything. I double checked it. I triple checked it. Because for those that don't know, I released this week's video a little bit later than I usually do. It was an absolutely monumental project, and I wanted to make sure I did it justice. And I'm about 90% happy with how the model turned out this week. And it kind of consumed all of my hobbying time, which, fortunately enough, was something that I actually genuinely enjoyed doing, but I did kind of want to move on to a couple more projects during the week. But unfortunately, that's just the way that life goes. Sometimes you don't get time to do the things you want, but nonetheless, I did manage to get a little bit of hobby in, and pretty happy with how the Invicta Tactical Wolf suit turned out. I'll leave a link up in the cards if you guys want to go and check that one out. I posted it yesterday just before midnight, so I managed to get in on my deadline, which I'm so proud of myself. But fortunately enough, I did leave the old intro in there instead of the new one that I was meant to do. Because I think from recording that intro to the video actually being released was roughly about an hour and a half apart. So yeah, very, very tight deadline. But next week's video should be a little bit nicer paced. I have a couple of models that I want to paint. I'm sort of 50-50 on them. And we're going to see what I choose. I still don't know, and I have to have it out by Monday. So we'll see what happens. Watch this space. So that's everything for my hobbying this week, but it is an absolutely massive week for new releases. Mostly Games Workshop, but a little company that is slowly catching my eye, because not only are the releases incredible, but their models are just such a big release and very, very aesthetically pleasing models. So we'll start with the GW news, a bunch of new releases and things coming out today. First and foremost, we have the Solar Auxilia tanks, which are basically your regular tanks with a little bit of filigree. So under the artillery of the Solar Auxilia, we have the Basilisk with an Earthshaker cannon, which, not gonna lie, looks pretty freaking cool. I'm always been a fan of the tanks in Warhammer. For some reason, they just really sell that grimdark aspect and just look like impenetrable things. Any tank that carries that big stumpy barrel, it tickles my little war brain. I love it. It looks kind of so dumb, but also shotgunny and powerful. So I really like it. There is also a couple of little models that you can put in them, which I think are super, super cool. Have the guy with a little mask pulling his goggles up, and then you have the regular dude who's just manning the gun. Really nice attention to detail that they're doing on these Horus Heresy models. And I don't know if you can use them in 40k. I definitely know that they're obviously coming out for Warhammer 30k or Horus Heresy, but it would be cool to see them in 40k in a full release kind of, or full rules release. And overall, they've just got some nice internal details, which I know for a fact if I haven't bought them, I sure as hell would not be painting. I don't have that much time and space on my hands. So yeah, definitely would not be doing that. But hey, if things go well and we turn this full time, then maybe it's an option. I would love to sit down every week and make some incredible tutorials and just try some different things. There's too many projects that I have in my big noggin that I want to get out for you guys, but time is so limited. So we make the best with what we've got. Now, for more new releases, we do also have the Solar Auxilia Aethon Heavy Sentinel, which, if Horus Heresy is not good for anything, it is at least good for the longest names in 40k. I cannot believe the names of some of these things. They need to get every shred of detail in them, and I absolutely love it. Now, overall, this is just a chunky lad. It looks like something straight out of a medieval RoboCop. And yeah, it's different. I don't know if it's better in my opinion, but it is definitely different, and it really sells that Solar Auxilia look. It's got the filigree and everything on it. Not a lot of panels to do freehand and that kind of stuff, but just enough to really sell the look. And the little top-mounted las cannon is the cutest little thing. I could just see him like firing that, and the second he does it with those little pistony legs, just instantly falls over. And that to me is absolutely hilarious. It's such a vicious war machine is so easily taken down, or looks like it would just fall in the breeze. Now, as for the rest of the releases, we have the Solo Auxilia Battle Group, which is this Sunday's preview. So, as of watching this video, it'll either be out on, if I release it on Saturday, it will be out today. If I release it on Friday, it'll be coming out tomorrow, the Battle Group. And overall, it's a pretty cool kit. You get a bunch of the new... you get a bunch of the new soldiers and everything. You also get 2 of the tanks, and I freaking love that big tank with like the barrel just sitting in the middle of the tank. And you get a sentinel as well, and a couple of transfer sheets, because obviously you need your transfer sheets. Just makes life so much easier and makes your model look real schmick. Yeah, overall, pretty good value. I'm hoping, like, I'm expecting this thing, if it's any more than like a combat patrol, like 250, I don't know if it's worth it, but like if it's like under that 250 mark, I could really see this going super well, because you're essentially getting, I think it's 20 solid auxilia, and like, what was it, 5, a couple of other things, so 1, 2, 3, there's obviously, there must be like 5 command dudes that I can't see in here, and then 20 just solo auxilia soldiers, which is super neat. Up next, we have the Stormseer Consul, which never been a massive White Scars fan, probably because I hate painting white for the most part. I've never really enjoyed that, but overall this model's kind of cool. Sort of Space Wolfing. I could definitely see you taking that, doing a little bit of a head swap, putting a Space Wolf head on that, adding a little bit more fur to him, and that would make like a really sick Space Wolf conversion. Then we also have the Dark Emmisary Consul, which I actually quite like. They're really going hard with the sculpts and kind of reducing the amount of freehanding and things that you need to do on these models, which I guess is a good and a bad. Like, if the people want to do it, they'll usually want to freehand, they'll obviously find a way of doing it on the model. Anyway, probably like filigree on the tab art and everything. But from a hobbyist perspective, and like especially an early hobbyist, I definitely see that being a bit of a positive, having the details sculpted in there. So there's some less guesswork, and you kind of copy the model. That'd be, yeah. Overall, kind of like it. Models are starting to get pretty complicated. I don't know if I like the detail, but I like the overall aesthetic of them. Now, one thing I do freaking love is the Apothecary Detachment. Both of these models just look incredible, and especially the way that they've painted the guy with like the Raven Guard mask. I can't remember what armor mark it is, but something about him is just, it looks so intimidating. And I think it's some molecular bonding studs on the shoulder. Just add that really rugged vibe. For the other guy, I think he's in Mark, don't quote me on this, Mark 5, Mark 4, something. One of the earlier suits, from what I can tell. My Warhammer lore on Mark suits is terrible, so don't hold me accountable for it. I'm completely guessing in this. But yeah, I freaking love the way that he looked. Yeah, just everything about him. He's so bulky, super intimidating. And I could definitely see myself maybe buying a couple of these and converting them up as like really neat characters. Because yeah, it just really sells the heaviness of it. Even probably putting like an aggressor head, or even sculpting a hood in, and maybe doing like an old school Terminator kind of conversion. Maybe that's worth trying, because I think that would be epic. Now, finally, Warhammer have decided to release the Brettonians and the Tomb Kings as single kits, and my golly gosh, has this been a long time coming. And for those who don't know, before I get into these releases, the main boxes, so the Tomb King box and the Brettonian box, are not limited edition whatsoever. Those 2 army boxes are the army box for that theme. So obviously they're going to kind of do what they used to with Warhammer Fantasy and have like the battalion boxes where you basically just get an entire army in a single box, which is insane, and it feels so good having so much plastic just sitting in your hands. I freaking love it. So yeah, that's what these kits are, like the army box in general. But we finally have a bunch of different things releasing as singles, and I'm not going to go through every single one of these. I'll just flash them up either this side or this side, wherever we are, and sort of show you guys. We have the Bone Dragon, which I freaking love that model. Something about it. I think it's just the fact that it's a giant dragon-looking thing. You can't go wrong with that. He looks super sick. and there's a lot of options that you can do with his the prince on top of it. And the fact that you get a free Lich Priest with him isn't a bad thing either. Nekav, he's pretty cool. You do have the plastic kits that are returning, which I'm not a massive fan of. I was always a fan of like the bigger kits, like the Necrosphinx and that kind of stuff. Even the Sepulchral Stalkers, freaking love those things. They are just beyond cool to me. Was never a massive fan of the old skeletons. I hated that big dumb head wall, kind of just so bulbous. So yeah, was never a massive fan of that. And the horses. I know every single man and their dog has talked about the horses, but this horse kit at this point, I think, is nearly 40 or 50 years old. It has been out for a hot minute. Now, I could very much be exaggerating that, but like, it has been out for a very long time, and I am well and truly sure that it has outlived so many wargamers themselves. Like, more people have perished than, this kit itself. It's just, insane how long it's been around. It is also exciting to see that Games Workshop is bringing back metal models with a vengeance. I love it. I'm a sucker for a metal model. Just something about holding metal in my hand. Really feels like a miniature. Like, I know the details can be really soft, but I absolutely love them. Now, one thing that has genuinely surprised me about all these new releases is the resin kits. Games Workshop have obviously learned from their previous mistakes with Finecast and have remastered some of their old kits. Especially, I love the detail in the carrion. I think that's what they're called. They are just incredibly detailed now. Because the biggest thing with Finecast, obviously they were originally made in metal, and then they took the Finecast kit. I am under the impression that China bought all of the resin in the world, so Games Workshop couldn't really, all the tin I think it was, so they had to go to Finecast. And it was kind of a roundabout solution for getting models out. And it's cool to see them putting a little bit of love back into the old kits, especially the resin ones, because they definitely left a lot to be desired. It's a shame they couldn't do the same thing for the plastic kits, but I understand that they would obviously have to remold and redesign all of the master molds for everything, which I don't understand. They probably didn't do it because obviously they didn't know how popular Old World would be, but upon seeing the popularity of everything, maybe in the far-flung future of the grimdark fantasy, we might see some remastered plastic kits, which will be pretty interesting. Yes, next up we have a bunch of Brettonians. Not going to go through these guys too detailed. Bunch of Knights of Realm on foot. The one model that is very interesting to me is the Lord with Great Weapon. I think it's super interesting to see that Games Workshop is coming back and releasing old models that they had never touched or never released back in the day. So I'm kind of hoping that we get some really cool Chaos characters, because for those who don't know, I have an incredibly massive Chaos army as of right now that's sitting in a box, which I'm really keen to get into. I'd love to see some old sculpts come back, or like some new old sculpts come back. That'd be really neat to see. Got a bunch of horses, some returning medals, which, like I said before, metal kits returning is just the best thing ever. They do also have like the old Green Knight and everything, which I know a lot of people will be excited for. The Green Knight specifically seems to be a very popular kit, especially in metal, for all the people who loved that guy back in the day. So yeah, I'm excited to see what other people do with that. I probably won't get on the Brettonian things, even though it is fun to see them in the with all the different paint jobs and everything. Now, off from the Games Workshop's release, there is one company I want to talk about, and it's specifically Heroes Infinite yet again, and their March release. So, as of tomorrow, I'm pretty sure it should release, or maybe the day after that. They have another Khorne-inspired army releasing, and I am super excited for this because I bought their first one when they had it back in January, and I absolutely love their take on the female models for the Khorne, and like the different demons and things, and they're even making female bloodletters at this point, which is super neat to see. I love when companies take like the original idea and kind of mold it and work with it in a new light. It really tickles my brain. Now, I'm not going to be going through every single one of these models like with the other things, but there are some key highlights, especially one massive model that they are about to release. Now, obviously, they have a bunch of characters and things returning, which I don't mind. I'm not a huge fan of every single character, but there are a couple that I really like. Especially basically anything on a mount, I think looks absolutely incredible. And as you can see from the video that is playing, there's a couple of models there that look really neat, and one of them is what I'm going to be talking about. Now, I do get that a lot of the female character models are pin-up, which is a little bit problematic in its own way, but for the most part, everyone looks pretty sick, and it's nice seeing a brand new take on everything. It is really interesting to see what they do with the troop units. I think this month they've got the female Bloodletters, and then they've got the Warhounds of Khorne that they've done their own take on. Super neat. Looks very much more kind of corny. And they do have a Karanak proxy as well, which I think was called, I quickly scrolled past it, Archivinus or something. And yeah, just also the Chained Furior is insane. They're obviously a parody of those, I can't remember what they were, but like from Age of Sigmar, they're the guys with like the big flails of Wrathmongers, I think they were. But the one model that I am super keen to see is the Lord of Skulls proxy. It's basically a giant ass bloodletter on tracks, which it's when I think Lord of Skulls, I think like a haunted, almost like a Baneblade sort of thing, and this fits the bill perfectly, and you'll probably see me paint one of these in a video in the future. I don't have plans to do it in a video, but I aspire to do it maybe down the track when I've got a couple of other projects out of the way. But I just think it is super neat, and it's cool to see them doing a much bigger models. So yeah, and apparently it's not even the last thing they got to do for a Khorne. There's a bunch of other stuff that they want to do. So I'm keeping a very close eye on Heroes Infinite, and I'm super excited to see what they do in the future. But on that note, that is our last headline for the week, and it's time to jump into this week's hobby hero, which is Mikey from Hellstorm Wargaming. Now, Mikey is an incredible YouTuber, and I absolutely love watching his content. He's always got a very vibrant, bubbly personality, and I love his dry sense of humor. It's very down-to-earth and very my style. Everything he does is super funny, and he originally started at doing battle bat rap content, which is like your different battle reports and things like that. And he has ever so slowly moved into hobby content. And I originally started watching him for his 3D printing stuff because he does some really neat deep dives into printers and things, and tests out a bunch of different stuff like printing large models, sort of your smaller models like your trip choices. Then he even printed like a Space Marine helmet at one point, which I thought was super epic. And he did recently start a 3D printing specific channel, which I am super keen to see. And if you want to go up and subscribe to it, make sure you go and do that. I'll leave a link down in the description. Go and show him a little bit of support, because I think he's going to make some really cool videos. He's got a few different things that he wants to do in the future, and a couple of printing videos that are going to be really epic. So it's exciting to see what he's going to do with that. Just overall, the dude's super nice. He does a lot of live streams, so if you ever want to catch him live and have a chat to him, he's always there. And yeah, I really enjoy the stuff that he makes, and I just wanted to highlight him this week. He's really inspired me to kind of push myself and do a couple of different kind of genres of videos. Maybe not bat raps, because I don't play. I more or less just paint and print. And yeah, that does me good. But yeah, go and check out his channel. I really appreciate everything that he does, and I hope you guys do too. And on that note, everyone, that is it for this week's hobby highlights and headlines. Thank you all for getting this far into the video, and I appreciate y'all for sticking around. It means the world to me. If you are new here, don't forget to subscribe to join this wonderful community, where every week I post 2 videos. We have one hobbying video and the headlines and highlights, where I highlight my hobbying for the week and all the headlines and new releases that I want to check out / things that I am excited for. So don't forget to leave a like on this video to keep the series going and show your support. And I hope you all enjoyed. Have a fantastic day, and until next time, happy hobbying. Bye.